Hi, it's Mark Donegan with the Marketing Execution Podcast. Most startups think great products win, but that's the wrong mindset. Segway had brilliant technology, but failed because it didn't fit any category. The real challenge is building what insiders call the magic triangle, which is product, company, and category design working together. After years of helping B2B tech companies scale, I've seen this framework separate winners from failures. Here's my conversation exploring how category design beats feature competition.
Tune in, listen up, it's marketing time. Bright ideas sparking, blowing your mind. From strategies to big exec dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Welcome to the Marketing Execution Podcast. This is the show for tech founders and leaders building B2B products and technologies. We show you how to go further, faster to get the business results you need.
From strategies to big exec dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Mark, I was thinking about something this morning. You see all these founders who build these technologically brilliant products. I mean, just incredible feats of engineering. And then they just fizzle out. They go nowhere. And it got me wondering, what is the invisible force that separates a flop from a legend?
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? It's something that keeps founders up at night. And honestly, most of them are looking in the wrong place for the answer. They're obsessed with their product, with being better than the competition.
Right. Better features, faster speed, slicker UI.
Exactly. But the legendary companies, the ones that create real, lasting value, they understand it's not a one-legged stool. It's a three-legged stool. I call it the magic triangle. It's product, company, and the one everyone forgets, category design.
Okay. The magic triangle. I like that. So product we get, company design is like your business model and operations, but unpack category design for me. That sounds abstract.
It's the most important piece, and it's at least understood. Think about the Segway. Remember the hype? It was going to change cities, change how we live. Technologically, it was a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, I remember. It was on every news channel. A total revolution in transportation.
A revolution that went nowhere. Why? Because nobody knew what it was. It was a brilliant product with no category. Was it a replacement for a car? No. A bike? Kinda, but not really. A toy? It was too expensive. They had a great product, a decent company behind it, but because they failed on category design, it just became a punchline for mall cops.
Wow. Okay, so you're saying they didn't define the game, so they couldn't win.
They didn't even know what game they were playing. And that brings me to the first and maybe most provocative point here. For a startup, category design is priority number one. Even, and this is going to sound crazy, even before you nailed the product.
Wait, hold on. Before the product? Mark, that goes against every lean startup, MVP obsessed book I've ever read.
I know it sounds counterintuitive. We've been conditioned to think minimum viable product, ship it, iterate, get it out there. And that's not wrong, but it's incomplete. The real goal isn't an MVP, it's an MVC, a minimum viable category.
MVC, minimum viable category. Okay, I'm leaning in. What does that mean in practice?
It means instead of asking, what product can we build? You start by asking, what problem is out there that no one is naming properly? You find a big, meaningful problem, give it a name, and then frame your company as the only answer to it. You're not building a better mousetrap. You're creating the category of rodent elimination as a service. You're changing the whole conversation.
You're creating a new ocean instead of just trying to be the biggest shark in the old one.
Exactly. Look at what Axon did. Most people know them as the Taser company, right? They owned the less lethal weapons category for law enforcement. They could have just stayed there, made better and better tasers forever.
Yeah, and they would have done fine.
Fine, but they wanted to be legendary. They saw this massive, unnamed problem simmering in society, a total lack of trust and transparency in policing. So they designed a new category, law enforcement transparency solutions. And then they built the products, body cameras, cloud storage, evidence management, to perfectly own that new category. They sold a point of view first, then the products to support it.
That's brilliant. They basically created the market they now dominate. Which, okay, that leads to a big question. If you're creating a new category people don't even know they need yet, who do you sell it to? Who are those first believers?
Now we're getting to the tactical stuff. This is the second key insight. You have to find and obsess over your super consumers. These are not just early adopters. They're the 10% of people who are already living in the future. They're the ones who are so passionate about the problem your category solves that they've already cobbled together their own weird, inefficient solutions.
Right, the people using 5 different spreadsheets and Zapier to do something that your SaaS product will do in one click.
Yes, that's them. They're the fanatics, the evangelists, the people who will wait in line for your product because it's not just a tool for them, it's part of their identity. Southwest Airlines is a classic example. They didn't try to win over business class flyers from Delta.
They were competing with what? Cars, buses?
They were competing with driving. Their super consumers were people who valued cost and convenience above all else. People driving 5 hours to see their grandkids. Southwest designed their entire category of low-cost, no-frills air travel around that person. Everything they did, from their marketing to their routes, spoke directly to that super consumer. That's why they won.
Okay, so this framework, the magic triangle, focusing on MBC and serving the super consumers, it feels really strategic. But how does a founder actually implement this day to day? It can't just be a poster on the wall.
It can't. It has to change everything. And this is the final, most crucial piece of execution. Understanding this triangle fundamentally changes how your teams operate. Your sales team, for instance, stops being a sales team.
What do they become?
They become category evangelists. They're not selling features and benefits. They're educating the market. They're teaching potential customers about a new way of thinking, selling them on the problem first before they ever get to the solution. It's a much more consultative, thought leadership-driven role. It's what we try to teach people here on the Marketing Execution Podcast all the time.
And marketing, I assume they're not just running feature comparison ads.
God, no. Marketing's job becomes defining and promoting the category itself. They're writing the book on this new topic. They're creating the language. They're shaping the entire public conversation to make your solution seem like the only inevitable choice. And finally, your product team. Their roadmap isn't driven by what competitors are doing. It's driven by a direct mainline connection to those super consumers, constantly iterating to make sure your product remains the absolute perfect solution for the category you created.
So every department is aligned not just on building a product, but on building and dominating a category. It's a much bigger game.
It's the only game worth playing if you want to build something that lasts.
Mark, this is fascinating, and it makes me think, what if you're a founder who's already 6 months in? You've already gotten MVP, you're already in a crowded market. Is it too late to apply this kind of thinking?
That's the question, isn't it? Is it too late? Look, it's never too late to have a point of view. Being 6 months in, that isn't a disadvantage. It's a data point. You now have 6 months of data on what it's like to fight in a crowded ocean. The real question isn't, is it too late? It's, do you have the guts to change the game you're playing?
I see what you mean. So it's less about scrapping everything and more about reframing, finding a new lens to look through. But that's a huge mental shift for a founder who's been grinding on features and user acquisition in a specific space. It's hard to just stop and look up.
It is. It's one of the hardest things to do because you get caught in what I call the better trap. You're so focused on being 10% faster or having one more feature than the other guy, and you think that's winning, but it's not. It's a war of attrition. It's a race to the bottom. And as a startup, it's a war you will lose. You don't have the resources.
Oh man, that is so true. I was just talking to a founder last week. They built this amazing project management tool. It was slick, it was fast, but they were just another tool in a sea of Asana and Monday.com. They were burning cash, trying to be slightly better.
And it's a soul-crushing way to build a company. Category design, this whole way of thinking, it's an act of liberation from that. You're not just trying to win the game, you're creating a new one where you're the only player. You change the criteria for what good even means. It stops being about features and starts being about a new way of solving a problem.
So the real value here, why this really matters, is that it forces you to get radically clear on the problem you solve. It's almost a filter for your entire business.
It's the ultimate filter. Exactly. This is the big aha moment. When you're forced to name your category, it exposes all the fuzzy thinking. I mean, if your category is AI-powered workflow automation, what does that even mean? It's generic, it's boring. But if your category is revenue operations for usage-based SaaS companies, wow.
Yeah.
Suddenly everything is clear. You know exactly who your super consumer is. You know what your marketing should say. Your product team knows what to build next. It's not just a marketing exercise. It becomes the central organizing principle for the entire company. It's the answer key for every hard decision you have to make.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second. This sounds risky. I mean, carving out a whole new space that doesn't exist feels a lot more dangerous than entering a proven multi-billion-dollar market and just trying to grab a small piece of it.
I get why it feels that way, but you're thinking about risk all wrong. What's the biggest risk for a startup? It isn't failing. It's being ignored. The true danger is building something decent that nobody gives a damn about because it's just like 5 other things they've already seen.
Being invisible.
Being invisible, that's the real killer. Creating a new category is how you make yourself visible. It's how you get people to lean in and say, wait, what is that? I've never heard of that before. You're sparking curiosity. You're creating intrigue. The real risk isn't being different, it's being the same.
And I guess those super consumers you talked about, they're your insurance policy against that risk. They prove the category has legs before you bet the whole farm.
You nailed it. They are your validation. They are the ones who prove you're not crazy. If you can find 10 people who are rabid about the new problem you've defined, you're onto something huge. You're not guessing anymore. You're building for a future that has already arrived for a small group of people.
Okay, that's a powerful reframe. The risk isn't in being different, it's in being invisible. I'm sold on the why. So let's get into the weeds. If I'm that founder, 6 months in, and I've just had this aha moment listening to you, what is the very first step I take on Monday morning to start designing my category?
Okay, great question. Tim, ideas are great, but execution is everything. Let's get into how people can actually use this stuff. The very first thing you do Monday morning, it's not opening your analytics. It's not calling a team meeting. It's grabbing a pen and a piece of paper.
A pen and paper. I love it. So we're going analog. What are we writing?
You're writing your point of view, your POV. Forget your product for a minute. You need to define the enemy. What's the old way of doing things that your company is here to destroy? You need to get angry about it. What's the broken, dumb, slow process that people just accept as normal?
Oh, I like that. Define the enemy. So it's not about saying we have a faster horse. It's about saying cars are here and horses are obsolete.
Exactly. So here's the actual step. Get a whiteboard. Draw a line down the middle. On the left, you write the old way. On the right, you write the new way. The old way is your enemy. The new way is your category. For Salesforce, the old way was buying clunky software on a CD-ROM. The new way, no software. It was the cloud. Fill that out for your business. If you can't, you don't have a clear point of view yet.
That's so simple, but I can see how that would be a brutal exercise. It forces you to be so damn clear. Okay, so once you have your POV, your new way defined, what's next? How do you know you're not just screaming into the void?
That's when you go on the hunt. You have to find your super consumers, the people who already believe in your new way, even if they don't have a name for it yet. And you don't find them with a survey monkey poll. You have to go find them in their natural habitat.
So you're saying become an anthropologist, go native.
You got it. Where do these people complain about the old way? Is it a specific subreddit, a niche Slack community? Is it in the comment section of a certain LinkedIn influencer? Go there. And here's the key, you shut up and listen. Don't sell, don't pitch. Read their pain. Feel their frustration. These are the people who have duct taped 5 different tools together to try and solve the problem your category will own.
So you're looking for the proof that the problem is real and painful and that people are desperate for a solution.
You're not just looking for proof, you're looking for your first 10 believers. Think about a company like Gong. They didn't invent call recording. What they did was they found the VPs of sales who are trying to listen to random sales calls and piece together what was working. These were their super consumers. Gong didn't sell them call recording. They sold them revenue intelligence. They gave that pain a name and built a tribe around it.
Wow. Okay, so you've defined your enemy and you found your first 10 believers. It feels like you have the ingredients. How do you put it all together into a coherent strategy?
The magic triangle on a napkin. It's a simple, powerful tool. Draw a triangle, label the 3 points, product, company, and category. At the top, for category, write down the name you just created, like revenue intelligence.
Okay, got it.
Then, for the product point, list the 1 or 2 killer features that absolutely prove your category exists. For Gong, it was probably their AI-powered call analysis. That feature made the category tangible. It wasn't just talk.
So the product has to be the proof. It's not just a collection of features, it's the evidence.
The evidence. I love that. And finally, the company point. This is your business model. How does your pricing, your sales motion, your customer support, how does it all reinforce your category? If your category is about being simple and accessible, you can't have a complicated enterprise-only sales process. The whole thing has to be in sync. That one-page triangle, that becomes your North Star for everything.
Mark, this has been incredible. You've basically given us a step-by-step guide. Before we wrap up, could you just summarize the whole thing for us one last time? The big ideas from today?
Absolutely, Tim. Look, it all boils down to this. Stop trying to build a better mousetrap. The real goal is to convince the world they have a mouse problem they never even knew existed. We started with the magic triangle. Your product, company, and category must be in perfect sync. A brilliant product in a confused category is just, well, it's a Segway. Then we talked about finding your believers, your super consumers. These aren't just customers. They are the living proof that your new category needs to exist. And finally, we got tactical. Define your point of view by naming the enemy, find those true believers where they live online, and map it all out. It's about creating a whole new game that you are destined to win.
That's a perfect wrap up. So Mark, after all that, the frameworks, the examples, if a founder listening right now can only hold on to one thought from this entire conversation, what should it be?
It's this. Stop asking, how can we be number one in our market? That's a loser's game. The only question you should be obsessed with is, what market can we invent that only we can win? Don't compete. Create. The Marketing Execution Podcast is produced by Growth Stage Marketing. We are on a mission to see your company reach wild success using marketing pods.
Too big, accept dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Thank you for listening and being a part of the marketing execution movement and community. To learn how growth stage marketing clients reach more buyers and drive business impact, go to growthstage.marketing. That's growthstage.marketing.